Are you looking to build an epic real estate YouTube channel in 2025? If so, you are in the right spot. So I talk about YouTube on this podcast quite a bit. By the way, if you're new to the podcast, hi, I'm Jason Pantana. I'm your host of This Week in Marketing, where we talk about marketing stuff this week to help you grow and scale your real estate business. And today's topic is all about YouTube, and I'll be joined by an absolute expert guest, Jeremy Knight. He's one of our Rockstar coaching clients and one of the original successes when it comes to leveraging YouTube to scale a business, because I love YouTube. I have never seen a marketing channel quite like YouTube in terms of its ability to organically generate just tons and tons of leads, buyers, sellers, inbound, free. I do see lots of teams that have leads they pay for, and that's all fine and well. I'm not here to dog that, but YouTube can give you like channel account numbers of leads at scale for free, other than the cost of making videos and the cost of time, so to speak. So today's video is about how do you figure out what your niche is, what kinds of videos are going to perform, what's going to be your cadence of consistency when it comes to videos, what if you're afraid of being on camera, what if you lack the technical know-how with cameras, how can you leverage AI to streamline and scale the process? We're going to get into a lot in today's episode. So without further ado, let's dive into my interview with expert YouTuber Jeremy Knight. Jeremy Knight, man, thank you so much for coming on to the show today to talk about YouTube. You are one of the premier experts in the real estate space of YouTube. You've had a lot of success, a lot of insight, and so I can't wait to get into our conversation today, because I know a lot of agents are sitting out there right now. They're thinking about their marketing mix in 2025 with New Year's resolutions all around them, and they're thinking about YouTube. So thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate all the kind words too.
Yeah. All right. So let's just kick it off. I want to hear your thoughts, and we're going to dive in. And I would expect for those who are listening or watching, this will be a pretty tactical conversation. If you're thinking about leveraging YouTube as a viable marketing channel to generate business, this is absolutely the right podcast to be watching or listening to. And then drop in your questions or thoughts along the way, because we'll want to get into the comments and answer those, and maybe do a part two just based upon how deep we get. Jeremy, what's your advice? If you're an agent and you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel or going all in on a YouTube channel in 2025, what should they be thinking about?
Well, number one, I would say don't dabble. I think the biggest problem most agents have is they get 3-4 months into it. They put out, 4 or 5 videos. They're not super consistent. And then they give up and say, well, YouTube didn't work. And it's kind of like any lead source, right? If you don't have the time, the reps with any lead source, it's really going to not work. Like even if you're doing mailers. So don't dabble, jump into it, because the biggest problem is that lack of consistency is where your channel will just kind of die. Because the thing is, as a consumer, when I come in and look at a YouTube channel, or just think about any YouTube channel, for you to get locked in as a subscriber, to you to buy into whatever that person is doing, it's not one video. And I think this is where a lot of agents get frustrated, is they do one video and it's a killer video, it's amazing, and then it doesn't get that many views, and they're just like, oh, this thing doesn't work. The thing is, for most consumers, I look at a video and I'll watch a video. I'm like, that guy or girl was really impressive. Let me watch the next video, and the next video, and the next video. And this is where I think it's the consistency, it's the reps. Once you have about 20-25 videos, that's where the consistency in phone calls really starts coming in. And the great thing is there's a lot of things you can leverage from those videos from there, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Yeah, I would just go all in and just say, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to doing one video a week, right, for 52 weeks. So what does that look like? What does the math look like that? How am I going to set this up? How am I going to prioritize that? And for me, I could tell you my experience is, and we were just talking about lack of consistency. I had to go out and hire a videographer. That's a huge expense. And by having that person, we shoot every Tuesday. I have to come up with content every Tuesday. Otherwise, I'm wasting money on something. So same thing as going to the gym. Same thing as, we're at the beginning of the year, a lot of people are going to the gym, and by February 1st, they're going to be out of the gym, right? And it's because they didn't get a trainer, they didn't get the people, or they didn't surround themselves around the right people. And that's another thing. I think there's so many good Facebook groups for real estate agents, for YouTube. You have the Tom Ferry ecosystem. You have different avenues. So get in with a group of people that are doing it and have them help you elevate yourself.
That's really good advice, man. And I think a lot of people are resonating with the idea of consistency. They know You've got to be consistent. If you're geographic farming and sending direct mail, you got to do it again and again.
Yep.
You're doing open houses again and again. No matter what it is you're doing, it's a flywheel that you have to keep cranking to really get it into momentum.
Yep.
They may be having questions, and I'd love to answer all their questions. They might be anticipating. They might be thinking, well, what kind of videos should I be making? How long
Yeah.
should the videos be? How do I optimize the videos? What's your advice along that front?
Well, first of all, when we talk about what videos you should be creating, this is where it's like, do you niche down? Do you go wide? Because there's niche down in your market. You have Matt Bogosian, right? He focuses on a south part of Nashville,
My,
and he
my
does
turf.
very vloggy style videos where he drives around on his motorcycle, or he will drive around and show you neighborhoods. Super, super amazing. Now you could go like Jackie Baker, who did huge, just here's 5 things you shouldn't buy in a home, and she's going very wide net. And when you go wide net, you get more subscribers and more views. Do you get more business out of it? That's the question. And so you need to figure out, am I going to niche down and focus on this one little area? Shannon Mangian, who we were on stage with the other day,
Yeah.
she's in my market, and she said, I'm going to focus just on these 2 little subdivision areas around the corner from me. And they're in my market, and she's getting business in my market, in my area right next to me.
Hmm.
Raj Sehu, he focuses on just doing property tour videos. His face is not even on any of the videos. They're just voiceover videos. He sells only new construction in 3 areas and does like $30 million a year just doing new construction videos, showing homes. So you have to figure out what's the direction you're going to go. And then once you have that idea, then it's just full throttle from there.
Is there any sort of criterion that should be evaluated or
Mm,
any framework they could follow to deciding their niche? Because I think you could throw in factors like, well, it depends upon your marketplace. Are there other
yep.
competing YouTubers? Is your marketplace very spread out? Is it very concentrated?
Yep.
What are your stylistic skill sets? Are you better on camera? Are you better off camera? How would you
All those
advise an
things.
agent to be thinking about, okay, these are the factors that you might want to, that might influence your decision in choosing a niche?
Look, a lot of people are scared to be on camera. So if you're scared to be on camera and don't really want to be on camera, then do just voiceover work. So what that's going to require you is to take a camera. And I love this style, more of that vloggy style where you just put yourself on camera just for a brief moment, and then you just show everything and voice over and talk it. So
Mm.
much easier. You don't have to act as much. You can just, talk and do a voiceover. I think that is such an easy way to do it, especially people who don't want to be on camera. Um, Man, there, I would focus on doing this first. I would go to Facebook, right? And I would go to Facebook. I would send out an email to your database. I
Mm.
would go to all the people that have worked with you and just say, hey, if you were going to move to this area again, what are some things that you would absolutely have to know? Or what are some of the things that you love that I told you? Have your people that love you give you the information you need to create that channel, because the reality is a lot of times we create content and we don't know who we're making it for. Really, we're doing it
Yeah.
to get business, but we're just like spraying and praying. Well, your audience, your people, your clients, the people that trust you, they came to you for a specific reason. So ask them, what are those things that they want to hear? I think that's going to be super helpful. And then you can break that up into 4 different categories and literally just rinse and repeat. So for me, every first week of the month, I'm talking more about suburbs around Austin. I'm growing a team in the Austin area. So now I'm going back and really focusing on north areas where I wasn't as much before. I was focusing more
Yeah.
south close to me. So
Mhm.
I talk about, maybe some data analysis around those areas, which ones are getting the most, more people moving to, which ones have the most new construction, where some information there. The second video I do is about just new construction itself. So let's say the first Tuesday I put out, suburbs. The next one I did just new construction, talking about buying new construction, the pitfalls of new construction. You can do 12 videos an entire year just on new construction from different aspects. You could do what builder incentives are giving, how to actually negotiate with the
Yeah.
realtor, and how to actually have a realtor help you. So there's 12 different topics you could have there. The next I do is a market update video. And I think honestly, those are some of the most powerful videos, because when I read a news article or I see a news article, I'm like, okay, I think I understand what this news article was talking about. And then you take that news article in a chat GPT, and chat GPT says, here's what the article is about. And you're like, was it about that? And then here comes a realtor or a YouTuber that comes and says, here's what the article was really about. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't even think about these things. These are context. And so so I'll take the data from what happened in the Austin area and I'll look at it. Obviously, we're all in real estate, so we're hearing what clients are saying. So,
Yeah.
hey, the last month, here's where it's happening. Here's what I think is going to happen in the next month. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. Perfect. And then the last one I do is do like neighborhood specific neighborhoods around me. So
Are those like
if you,
tours?
yeah, tours. So, and that's where like, Raj and I talked about how he was going to do his channel about new construction. Like with Raj, we said, okay, what are your four different buckets or types of content you're going to create around just property tours? And we looked at it and said, okay, let's talk about, that more affordable price point. What is that affordable price point? Look, let's do some content there. Let's do that mid-range content. Let's do that higher end content. And then let's do custom builds. And so he's
Mm.
got four different, and so he actually calls that low, medium, and high funnel, right? So he's got that content that's like this crazy custom build. At the end of the video, you have an opportunity to say, hey, here's two more videos. Which one do you want to watch? And then the people that he
Now he's
wants to
directing
work with,
traffic.
right? He's directing traffic to the people that are in that. Like his average price point's around $1 million in that market that he's at, and they're all new builds. So I think there's so many different ways to look at it. I would look to see, number one, who are you really wanting to work with? Okay, who is your ideal avatar client? Look at all of the clients that you've worked with over the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and go, okay, who were the clients I really wanted to work with? Ask them what they wanted to hear, ask them what their friends want to hear, and then make content around that and just find four different funnels that you can funnel. That way it's easier to continue to come up. All right, it's next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is market update video.
So I think a lot of people have confusion around the term niching down or niching down, however you want to pronounce
Yeah,
the word niche. And I look at yours and it's like, okay, you've subdivided your niche. So there
yeah,
it's week one, it's suburbs. Week two, it's new construction. Week three, it's market update. Week four, it's neighborhood tours. That's
yeah,
your mix of content. How do you wrap that into the umbrella of what is your niche? If you were
yeah,
YouTube's algorithm trying to understand Jeremy Knight's channel, how do you think it
yeah.
perceives you?
Yeah, so YouTube looks at me and says, okay, people that are moving to the Austin area that want really good information and want to have a good mix of different areas, this is the channel for you, right? If you're looking at moving to Austin, you're only doing new construction, they're more looking at Raj's channel. Or if you're doing just property tours, they've looked at here's the property tour channel for the Austin area. So you can have, I mean, I look out there and there's so many different YouTube channels in Austin that have either copied exactly my channel formula or they've done a variation of it and they're doing really well. So look, I mean, I think the biggest thing too is we look at some of those big channels and go, oh, I can't compete. I'm not going to do it because this other big channel's out there. Well, yeah, but those people that like that channel may not want to work with them, or they may think that person's too busy for me and you're more accessible. I guarantee you there's so many people that I lose as clients that think I'm too busy because I've got this big channel and I have to remind them on the channel, like, hey, if you're reaching out, we have team members. We're excited. Our team member just had this experience, which was really great. And the client was super happy. And so I'm having to go back and remind our database and the people watching that, hey, look, we can help.
I
So
love
there's
that.
so many different, like, just stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and focus on you.
I love that. So let's talk a little bit about brand. And I
Yeah.
want to I want to dig into, if I can articulate this, how does the actual machine of YouTube work? Because I've talked about it on this podcast many times.
Yeah.
We have numerous influencers in our ecosystem of coaching clients who are generating lots and lots of business. You are one of them, one of the
Yeah.
top dogs in this space who's generating lots of business off of YouTube. And I know there's a lot of talk out there. There's talk about faceless channels.
Yeah.
I want to understand the brand aspect of it. What is the actual mechanism or funnel of people watching your videos where they're coming to you that somebody could say, "Oh, I get the game we're playing now when it comes to
Yeah.
generating business off of YouTube."
Well, when we think about a brand, what is it about a brand that we like? It's the trustability, right? You've
Yeah.
seen what this brand is doing. You know what that brand is. Like you do a really, really good job of articulating this in one of your talks, or maybe it was Brad I saw that did this, where it talks about Nike. If Nike were to build a hotel, we would know what Nike's hotel would be without
Right.
even having to visualize it. Like when I think of so when people look at you, what is it that you're giving them? Are you only talking about a low dollar price point area in your neighborhood? Then you are branding yourself as the low dollar expert. If you're only talking about high end luxury, then you're the high end luxury. Brad McCallum, who's in the same space,
Yeah.
phenomenal branding, because he said, look, I'm going to go after all of that high end dollar stuff and just
Yeah.
show this really good, sexy looking stuff on there. Right. So think about your brand. What is your brand going to be? Is it going to be just that mid-range luxury? Are you just going to focus on 600K to 1.1 million? Is that what your brand is?
I think
Recent.
why
Yeah.
I think what you said earlier is really important, where you're asking your database, you're asking your past clients,
Yeah.
you're asking your audience, whoever that is, what are their questions and what resonates with them, because they're going to likely tell you who your brand is. And your
100%.
brand is what they subscribe to, so to speak.
Right.
And I think you alluded to it earlier as well when we talked about choosing a topic or a niche for your channel. There are some people who are like 5 ways to do this or that, and they're giving tips and advice. There are other people who are just doing
Yeah.
property tours, and there are other people who are doing neighborhood tours, or like I think about Ken Pozek, who's doing
Yeah.
what he calls area guides, where he's
Yeah.
exploring
Area.
different
Yeah.
communities and so forth. And I think your brand, to your point, is ultimately, if you keep making those videos over and over and over again, whatever they are, that's going to naturally manifest into people's perception of you and how they work with you. And so, talk to us about, how does somebody decide, like, if you're an agent and you're really struggling, I want to go deeper on this topic of, you're struggling with being on camera
Yeah.
and you don't necessarily want to be on camera, but you don't want to miss out on the impact of having a brand and attracting business, and you want to make sure people know to work with you. What's your advice on that front?
I mean, we always care more about what we look like on camera and are more afraid than what people actually think. So I would say, number one, just get over it and put yourself out there. If you're so afraid to be on camera that you can't be on camera, I understand. There are channels where you can just do voiceover. I mean, people look at. I mean, Raj is the best example of this. He has not
Mhm.
been on one single frame of his channel at
Mm.
all. It's all just literally walking property tours with voiceovers. If that is what is worrying you, literally go film a bunch of content about new construction or just wherever it is, and then just simply say in the front of the beginning of your video, hey, my name's Jeremy. Well, don't use my name, but I'm just use your name, right? My name's Jeremy Knight. I'm a local Boston realtor, and what I love to do is show you some of the most amazing X of my area. We're going
Yeah.
through and talking about this today, right? Maybe don't have that as your intro, but maybe have a much better hook and then say
And then
that later
introduce
on.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little vamp. Yep.
I think that the hook is the most important piece, right? Today, we're going to talk about some of the most elusive neighborhoods that you might not be able to get into or even know about. Jeremy Knight, with the
Yeah.
Knight, your favorite Austin realtor. Today, we're going to deep dive into these areas, right? Maybe that's a better hook.
Good. Yeah.
Uh, but you don't even have to be on camera. It's literally just B-roll that your videographer took. I mean, here's what's wild about like what Raj does. Raj hires guys to go out and video for him and bring back the footage, and then he has an editor edit it all, and then he does a voiceover. How hard is that
That's
to do?
efficient. That's
Yeah,
efficient.
it's super efficient.
Speaking of
Uh,
efficiency, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges or obstacles that agents are facing when it comes to YouTube channels?
I think the biggest thing is, number one, we're not most real estate agents aren't video editors. They're not uh, videographers. And so you're probably going, the biggest questions I always get is like, how do I hire a videographer? I think what you really need to do is sit down and look at which niche, which area you're going to do, how you're going to like find the 5, 10, 15 channels that you resonate with the most and look at how they do it. And, obviously the ecosystem here is rip off and duplicate. I wouldn't say rip off, but I would say learn and create your own style and
Yeah.
say, okay, this is what I want to do. And then once you have those 4 or 5 things, you can go to a videographer and you can go to an editor and go, okay, help me conceptualize this. I
Yeah.
like what they do here. I like what they do here. I want a mix of all of these things. Here's how I want to do it. How
Mm.
can you help me do that? And then take that to a videographer. But if you go to a videographer and just like don't have an idea, it's going to be a much harder road. And then you're just going to get frustrated and burnt out and be done with it. So have a kind of a good, clear idea of what direction you're going to go. And look, your direction could change 5 videos in, and that's perfectly fine. My content at the very beginning was terrible. So don't stress out about your first few videos being terrible, because everybody starts off being terrible and then works their way to being the direction they're going to go. It's all going to
Yeah.
be a process though.
It's a feedback loop. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who maybe doesn't have the budget for a videographer? What's happening in the tech space? What tools are
Yeah.
available to streamline just the cumbersome process of creating, filming, and editing video?
Look, there's so many new, and this is what I want to talk to you about, is a lot of this AI stuff. So, there's so many different editing platforms that are coming out for AI. I mean, I'm using AI a lot more, really more for scripting. I'm terrible at scripting. I would rather just bullet point and go off the bullet points, but then sometimes I forget and miss some things. So I like to take a lot of articles, and I'll take 4 or 5 articles, drop it into ChatGPT and say, make me a script out of this. And I'll read the script and go, okay, that all sucks. Now I know what I want to say. Right. But the same thing in the AI space, maybe you can tell us a little bit more, but there's so
Yeah.
many different editing platforms out there now. In fact, there's that face, like you could literally, if you wanted to create a script and just, spend 2 minutes talking to a camera, literally you can have an AI bot just do you sitting there talking without you
Yeah.
actually having to do it. Right. So I would look into some of these AI things and, well, what are the recommendations you have?
So I think what you're doing at ChatGPT is a smart place to start. So it's
Yeah.
taking several articles. It sounds like your market update videos are somewhat, I think a lot of agents have a traditional view of a market update video where they go get
Yeah.
MLS data and say there's this many actives and this many pendings and this, but yours is much more in response to market conditions or articles
Yeah.
or happenings. So you're taking these articles that you want to react to effectively and
Yeah.
you're blending them into ChatGPT and getting summaries and then a script based off of it. I think where you could go next level is training a GPT inside of ChatGPT to sound like you. So I teach this in AI Marketing Academy, which is my AI
Yeah.
program,
Love
where
it.
you can take samples of your past scripts and you can feed them in as a knowledge upload so that the GPT can learn to sound like you. It can pick up on your
Yep.
style, your preferences, and then take all that data, blending it with your personality and give you a script. Some of the other tools, though, that we're seeing is one big one that I think people aren't using enough is the eye contact correction. You're
Oh
seeing
yeah.
a feature, getting like
CapCut.
teleprompters on your phone, or I'm looking at a teleprompter right now as I film this video. You can get a teleprompter to hold your iPad for like $100 on Amazon. Teleprompters are easy to get these days, whether it's on your phone or it's a tablet in front of your actual DSLR camera, whatever. Teleprompters are easy.
Yeah.
But the problem with
CapCut's
them
one.
is, what was that?
CapCut, you can do it on there.
Yep.
Captions app, all of those,
Captions,
and they both do the
Descript.
eye correction. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do the eye contact correction. So you read the
Yeah.
script, and then I can see your eyes going left to right, but then it just fixes your eye. So the AI will go frame by frame and it will determine which pixels were your eye whites, eyeballs, pupils, eyebrows, and it'll just move things to where they should have been had you been looking at the camera the whole time. I use
Yeah.
this all the time. So I'll have a script where it's written out, it's in my voice, it's just the way I want it, it's efficient, it's got the hook and all the right details. And then I'll read it once, one take wonder. You do have to practice smiling. When you're reading a script, you have to tell your brain you've got to smile.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you look like very cold and not happy about life. You got to smile. And then you just hit
Yeah.
the one button, whether you're using Descript or CapCut, like you said, or Captions AI, like you said, or another tool is called Veed, VEED.io. They all
Yeah. I
are
saw that one.
eye contact correction and they're affordable. And so I think the ability for working even without a video editor, if your budget isn't there, or if you decide on a style of content that's a little bit more low grade, I don't think it's ever been easier than it is today. And Jeremy, what's wild is we're starting to see some of these AI tools, like Descript is known for this. They already have a feature called getting rid of all the filler words.
Oh, I
So if
love
you do
that.
a
Yeah.
video take and like as if totally all those filler words and pauses, you can have it automatically remove those. And so there's no editor removing them. But they're getting even smarter where we're starting to see some of the tools like Veed is testing this right now. And there are others
Yeah.
coming along where they will actually look at your raw footage and decide on your best takes. So like if you flub a sentence and then you restate the same sentence, it will take the better take and create a compilation edit as if it is acting like your editor. Now it's new and it's not as good as a video editor yet, but the speed of these tools is remarkable. And so I think leveraging them is absolutely essential. What are your thoughts, man?
I love all of those things. I mean, one thing I'd say is look into all these things and see what's going to actually help you, right? But the other thing is you always have to do things that are going to make it. I always think of it this way: take it and make it more simple than it needs to be, and
Yeah.
then you can actually add on top of that. A prime example is I have a lot of people reach out to me like, I don't have an editor, I don't have somebody. What can I do? The easiest thing you can do is go on Zoom or StreamYard and just record yourself talking about areas. Like,
Hmm.
hey, so this area has these neighborhoods, has this. And then when you go to edit that, it's so much easier you can edit those things. So try to make it easier on yourself than like going too extreme. But find the things that are going to be easy for you to do and do those things. The AI, if some of these things work, the VEED, all of this stuff, the I correct, then use it. But I think really you do have to spend time doing it. Otherwise, you're just with anything, right? Like I have so many agents like reach out to me like, oh, we use Lofty, right? And so I don't know how to use Lofty. I'm like, there's 15 like courses and classes right
Right.
here. Like
Right.
it's right there. So don't get overwhelmed. Just dive in and do it. That's what I say. Don't stop dabbling. Just dive in. Right.
Man, I think that's really the
Otherwise, you're
theme
gonna.
of our talk
Yeah.
today is stop dabbling, dive in. I love
Yeah.
that language. Jeremy, this has been a very inspiring conversation about YouTube. I think the opportunity on YouTube, when I look across marketing opportunities in
Yeah.
2025, I got to tell you, like, YouTube is number one on my list. Number one.
Well, here's the crazy thing what we haven't talked about. So with YouTube, number one, it's a search engine. It's going to help you find your niche, right? Once you have your content out, phenomenal. But I take that, I make blogs out of my content, right? So we do Descript or whatever, and my VA pulls all of the text out, makes a blog out of it, takes it to takes it over. Well, ChatGPT fixes it, and then takes it over, builds blogs out of it, takes it to Google Business, builds a blog that directs them back to my website.
Yes.
My database weekly, my I didn't know this stat. 100% my open rate on my weekly emails, which are just my videos, repurposed into here's what the video is about to my database. 100% open rate.
It's nuts,
I did
dude.
not know that. My VA the other day was like, "Did you know that these videos you send out?" I was like, "Okay, now we need to make
Who are
sure
you?
we're writing the scripts that we actually have stuff in there that has them more of a call to action, right?" So
Right,
now we're
dude.
working on call
What's
to
the,
action in the
how's the click-through performance in those emails? I'm
it
curious.
it was super high. Like my because we just hired a new company to help us kind of with the backing of this, and they were shocked. They were like, because we're looking at. I have another thing that we send out once a week. I have an email list for all the events and things that we're doing, and the
Yeah.
click through rate's really low on that. And so we're like, well, let's look back at our Lofty, and it's like high. It's
Is
like
Lofty
all of it
sending the
was
emails
really
for you?
yeah. So we're creating the blogs through Lofty, and then we're creating the emails through Lofty and sending them out to the database. So again, that's my database, right? So it's not like I'm just emailing to random people, but it's
Yeah.
the database that we've retailed, and a lot of those people are people that have come through YouTube into the database.
Hey, Jeremy, you want to know my second biggest marketing channel opportunity in 2025?
Ooh, I'm excited.
Your email list. Your email
Yes,
list. That is my
yes,
number two. YouTube and email.
yeah,
And then I actually think direct mail, I'm getting off topic. I think that's got a lot of potential in 2025 just because digital is so saturated. There's an opportunity in actual physical mailboxes. But man, I got to tell you, thank you for doing this. This was really
yeah.
good content. I think that people have watched or listened to this and they likely have a greater sense of, okay, I know what I have to do in order to be ready to go after YouTube in 2025. I have a stronger confidence level. I feel inspired, and I hope everybody leans into those feelings today. Where can folks connect with you, Jeremy?
Yeah, you can find me at a lot of times people just DM me on Instagram at the real Jeremy Knight. So you can DM me there or on Facebook as well. Instagram's the easiest though.
All right, you were the man. Thank you everybody for watching today. Happy New Year. I hope you crush 2025. And until next week, this is This Week in Marketing.